Shalom, shalom. This is the brother Ba. You're back here once again. Before I get started, like always, I want to give all praises and glory to Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai Bahashem, Rachahakwadash. Double honors to my teachers, the elder apostles of Great Millstone, and shalom to the hopeful elect. Yeah, I was checking out a little bit of this interview with this guy Lex Friedman. He was interviewing Kanye, and the statement that he made was totally absurd, man, and ridiculous. All right. And I guess he's a Amalekite, all right, a so-called JOO, all right. Um, and he made the statement that he was speaking on the hologram event. Okay, we can't say the actual name for obvious reasons, but he was speaking on the hologram event, and he was saying that's what happened during the hologram event was the most unprecedented. It was the most embarrassing thing. The rape, the torture. It was the worst thing that ever happened to a group of people. And you're sitting there listening to this guy, and you're like, either you're mentally retarded, or you have so much pride and envy and hate in your heart for the Lord's true people that you don't want to say the truth. Because there's no way in your mind that you will believe, even though we know the hologram event is a straight fraud, it's a fraudulent situation that happened, all right? It didn't occur nowhere near to the extent that they fabricated throughout the news. But even if we were to give them that and say 5 million or 6 million of their people died during that short amount of time, even if we did, allow them to have that, it fails in comparison. It doesn't even come inkling close to what happened to the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native American Indians. But for a guy to sit up there and make it seem like, the plight of his people were way worse than our plight, which we don't want to make this a tit for tat thing, but I mean, come on, man, it's a spit in our face, all right, as a people. It's a spit in our Lord's face, all right, because you just don't regard what we had to endure during captivity. Now, when you speak about the hologram event, I got these tabs pulled up, and I don't want to. I was gonna play a clip of the interview, but for the sake of obvious reasons, I don't want to get striked or anything. But just a little bit here on Wikipedia, it said the hologram event lasted from 1941 to 1945. That alone is a spit in our face. All right, for you to say that can compare to 400 plus years, all right, of straight being a prisoner of war, losing your heritage, losing your nationality, losing everything that you once knew, all right, serving a nation for free, all right, being raped, all right, being tortured, being brutalized, being brainwashed, having to go through their school systems, being indoctrinated by their education system, having to deal with their money system, their banking system, which is owned by you people here. All right, and so many other things, man. For you to sit up there and say the hologram event was an unprecedented event, you, you got to be out of your fucking mind. I want to get Daniel chapter 9, and I wish I could play the clip where he said it, but these wicked ass, demonic ass Amalekites, all right, they don't want this truth coming out. This is Daniel chapter 9, verse 11. It says, "Yea, all Israel have transgressed the law, even by departing, that they might not obey thy voice. Therefore the curse is poured upon us, and the oath that is written in the law of Moses, the servant of Yahweh, because we have sinned against him. And he hath confirmed his words which he spoke against us and against our judges that judged us, by bringing upon us a great evil. For under the whole heaven have not been done as have been done upon Jerusalem." So the Lord said, what has taken place on the nation of Israel has never been done, nor will ever be done again to a people. All right, the way it was done. but you have this guy here trying to even make it seem like what his people endured, it surpasses anything that we ever went through over here in America. This guy's he's a lunatic. He's a lunatic. And Kanye, his response was talking about abortion, how millions of Israelites die of abortion every year. But that's one of many atrocities that have taken place on our people. That alone, abortion kills that whole thing. And like I said, the hologram event lasted from 1941 to 1945. Let me pull up this video, man. Which I did a video on this a while back, but it's always good to bring these videos, refresh these videos in your mind.
1525 to 1866, 12.5 million Africans were taken from their homeland.
Let's start right there, which we know we're not Africans, but from 1525 to 1866, it's estimated that over 12 million of us was caught on them nasty, disgusting, unbearable slave ships. How the hell? And like I said, I'm speaking as if the hologram event actually did happen. How the hell does 4 years of whatever the hell you said took place over there, whatever y'all claim took place, compare with something that happened from 1525 to 1866? And this is just the beginning. This is just the beginning of what was going to take place in America. All right, the journey alone is unheard of. All right. Oh man.
1866, 12.5 million Africans were taken from their homeland and forcibly transported across the Atlantic, a journey that approximately 2 million of them would not survive. By the turn.
Stop right there. The ride to your slavery, the ride to your captivity, many of us were jumping off. Many of us were thrown off. All right. They said if they thought we had a disease or some type of sickness, they would throw us off. Many of us just jumped off, for the sake of not wanting to go wherever they was taking us. To the point, it was so many bodies, being thrown off those ships at those times. They said the sharks, around that area in the Atlantic developed a feeding ground, and that was the path they took to find food, because bodies were being dropped down. Okay. And they said and all these are estimates, which we know is way more. It's way more than over 12 million. It's way more than 2 million that died on the way there. This is, bro, like I just read in Daniel, what has been done to Israel has not been done to any other nation. But these imposters created a hologram event and was able to get away with it while we were in our ignorance, while we were still those dry bones before we woke up. But that hologram event is a joke, and it's a spit in our face for you to even compare that with our plight.
Turn of the 18th century, European merchants were building vessels capable of transporting hundreds of enslaved people per journey. These ships had extra portholes for ventilation, weapons mounted on deck in case of rebellion, and additional compartments added below deck to take on more human cargo. Before boarding the ships at African port cities, enslaved people were stripped of their clothing and remaining possessions and had their heads forcibly shaved.
Now, they talk about these African ports. Google Port Judah. Google Port, what do they call it? Port Yehuda, but we know it stands for Yahweh. All right. Google the Ashanti tribe, the Igbo tribe. All right. We were keeping our Hebrew customs over there in the land of Africa. Okay.
During boarding, which could take weeks or even months, enslaved people lived on the deck of the ship in a temporary wooden house constructed by the crew. The crew also installed netting around the deck of the ship, designed to catch those enslaved who might opt for death over forced servitude. Once moved below deck, enslaved people would find themselves stuffed into compartments with ceilings as low as 4.5 feet.
We had to stop right there. Did you hear that? They said the ships that we were being boarded onto were as low as 4 feet. Dude, the average Israelite man, especially during those times when we were eating real food, more of our food was real, and we lived in a better habitation. Man, the average Israelite man was like 6 feet. The average one, you know, and you going into a ship where you gotta live for months that's only 4 feet tall.
Feet, where they would spend most of their voyage. They were segregated by gender and age. Adult men were kept separately and shackled in pairs. Women usually left unchained in their designated compartment, and children often free to move about the ship.
So imagine laying on your back, all right, for months on end, and shackled in these rusty iron shackles, man, to one another. You can't move. Can you imagine the amount of pain, aches, and sores, cramps? Oh, man.
There were no sanitary facilities of any kind. Enslaved people were forced to relieve themselves where they sat, creating hellish conditions when combined with the heat and lack of ventilation below deck.
Lex, you hear that? And this is before they even endure any of the tortures they endure in America, which lasted over 400 years. This is just the journey on this ship. And we're not even dealing with Northern Kingdom, Native American Indians, and the Hispanic tribes, what they endured in the Caribbean, in the islands, South America, over here in America. We just dealing with Southern Kingdom right now, the so-called Negroes.
Disease was rampant. Dysentery, malaria, yellow fever, smallpox, measles, and influenza ravaged the enslaved and crew members alike. The enslaved people generally spent about 8 hours a day above deck, but were still separated by gender, with a barricado, a reinforced wall that could be used to protect crew members in case of a revolt. Enslaved people were also subject to forced exercise, which sometimes included dance and song for the entertainment of the crew. Enslaved captives deemed disobedient were tortured and beaten, usually whipped with the especially cruel cat o' nine tails, a tool designed to inflict maximum pain. Enslaved people who refused to eat their typical meal of rice and beans were forced to do so, sometimes with a speculum oris, a medieval tool used to force open a person's mouth. Women, while usually left unshackled, were raped and sexually abused by members of the crew, sometimes arriving in the New World, carrying the children of their attackers. But it was...
So you hear this, you got a woman, you got a wife, y'all get captured, put on these disgusting ass, vile ass ships, and your woman gets raped on board. Y'all finally land in America, and your wife is pregnant with a so-called white man's baby. And then y'all get separated. You get shipped to Alabama. She gets shipped to South Carolina. What the fuck are you talking about? Some fucking hologram event? That's a fucking joke. And your whole existence is a joke. All you Amalekites are a fucking joke. Anybody that agrees with y'all are a fucking joke. You know? And we don't take you people seriously. And y'all are not the authority, alright? The authority is Yahweh Shema Shai, and he has set us up to condemn y'all and speak the truth. Alright? That's what's coming out now, the truth. Let's continue on this video, man.
Was the women, using their minuscule freedoms, who would often coordinate mutinies against their captors. But these rebellions were rarely successful. The true extent of the horrors of the Middle Passage came to light in a 1783 court trial over the slave ship Zong. The Zong left present-day Ghana in August of 1781 with 442 enslaved on board. After a 2-month journey riddled with navigation errors, 62 enslaved people and 7 crew members had perished without reaching their destination. Disease was spreading throughout the ship, and fresh...
If you want to continue watching this video, you can do so on your own. All right, just put in "life aboard a slave ship" on YouTube. It's gonna come right up. But yeah, man, it just I was watching a little bit of this guy talk, and it's a joke. What these people talk about is a complete joke, man. Um, he called it an embarrassment, a worldwide embarrassment. No, this is embarrassing. All right, your kids walking home from school, getting water hose down, and dogs sicked on them by the fire department. All right, on national television, might I add you. And this is this is hundreds of years after and during the plantation. All right, of picking cotton on the plantation all damn day long. This is what you call the civil rights era. All right. So don't think you can ever compare 4 years of something that actually didn't even happen, but if it even did happen, 4 years to over 400 years of just all type of atrocity. Look at these are number kids. Can you imagine this type of trauma, the type of fear, how you just feel like nothing. You feel lower than dirt. All right? And you look at our people today and you see how destroyed they are mentally. Well, look what they endured over here in their captivity. And it's a spit in our face whenever y'all open y'all mouth and try to tell us that what we endured over here doesn't matter. Well, we're going to see if it matters to Yahweh Bashim Yahushua. You know? I just wanted to do a quick video on that, man. You can go so much deep on this topic. You can go way deep on this topic, man. You know, we can be here for hours on end touching on this. But Lex, your joke, look at this, man. You would think this is it is a horror movie. But yeah, man, I just wanted to do a video touching on that. I'll be back again till the next time I say shalom.